Okay, I'm going to start with, this is going to be the beginning of the build, step 2 right there, putting this steering servo together. The way this works is, you can see here it says BB2 is a screw. So what that means is it's bag B. Okay, and then over here it shows you need 2 of those screws. So if you look down here, I've got them laid out, A, B, I cut the tops off of them, A, B, C, D. So I grabbed 2 of these screws from bag B. And then, you know, the next thing will be, it'll say, okay, BC1, so that's 2 nuts. You can see over here, BC1's 2 nuts. So that's bag C there, and then, so I got 2 nuts. And I went ahead and just used that method throughout. I went ahead and got all the hardware for this, for step 2. And then off of this parts tree, you're going to need one of these guys for the steering servo. And I'm using a Lozi B0812 high torque servo. It's only 120 inch-pounds. This came from a ready to run 8th scale Lozi nitro buggy. So it came from the 2.0. So that was this number 4 is the one that fits the spline. And then what you want to do is center it. And the way you do that is, you could plug it in, but you know, I'm not going to. You spin it all the way one way. You can see it went a little bit past center. There's 90, 180, and it goes a little bit past center. That's pretty good. That's close enough. We'll trim the rest out. Now then in the manual it says to orient it vertically up and down like so. And I got my posts off the parts tree, and you'll want a good X-Acto knife anytime you're doing building kits. I use X-Acto, doesn't say on here, but I buy these. You get like 20 blades or something for $4. These are number 11s. I use number 11s exclusively for everything I do. They're especially good when you're using Bob Dibley's liquid mask and you're masking out like a more complex body that you're going to airbrush. You can take one of these number 11s and cut out the liquid mask quite nicely. And for me, I think they're just a good all-around blade for the RC hobby. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off some of the flashing that's left from the parts tree. Make that nice and flush. Cool. And then it says to orient the servo as such. This little guy's going to go on the back. I'm going to take a washer and a screw. And screw this in. Okay, it takes a little bit to get started, but there we got it. That'll go right there on top. Go and snug that up. You don't want to go too crazy. It's a little metal screw into plastic. It doesn't, you know, you don't have to torque it down big time. Okay, so here you can see on the back of it, it's molded so that the nut will go inside there. Okay, and for this, I'm going to go ahead and Loctite it. You can use different kinds of Loctite. I need to get some more. I'm running low. I'm going to use a penetrating grade medium. And my motto is anything that is metal to metal should be Loctited. There's actually 2 different sizes of these balls. You're going to want the bigger one. And notice it's got a longer threaded end. Okay, so we want the bigger one. Loctite that. Anything metal to metal gets Loctited. We'll go ahead and thread that in. And snug it up. Do that one more time. And that bigger one came out of this bag. See, it's got bigger brass stuff in it, so this way I can put it. Put it back centered onto, that's the basically final product. There's one screw that's got to go in the middle there, and they did not tell me exactly where it is, so I got to hunt that down. Okay, for our next step, we're going to do step 3. I've already laid out the parts. You're going to need one, that's the wrong washer, one 3mm washer out of bag C. Grab that because I had the wrong one. 2 screws. They come out of bag B. They're the shorter guys. 4 of these blue guys off the parts tree. And there's 2 sets of rods here. You're going to take the longer ones, the 2 longer ones that are 140mm. These ones we're going to set aside. Go ahead and thread these on. And then now we're going to need a pair of dial calipers, and it says to make 126mm. So we'll go ahead and set that for 126. Close enough. Lock that in, and then I'll go ahead and tighten those down. So I'll do that twice, and then what we'll want to do is we're going to have our servo like so. The base is going to go underneath like this. We're going to clamp through these 2 holes. This side here, it wants a washer, so we'll put a washer in there. The other side, it does not call for a washer. I don't know why. I'm sure an answer will be revealed. Okay, we'll get that one started. Put this guy in. Maybe, there we go. Get him in there. Snug her down. I notice this is slotted, so we'll kind of center it up by eyeball as best as we can and snug that down. Step 4. There's a little note up here, and you don't want to miss it. It says remove the flashing on this chassis. Alright, so I've laid out all the parts in order just like this is. And one thing I want to note, parts bag A is a little bit tricky. These screws here are 10mm. They're 3x10s. There's also 3x12s in there, okay, which is very obviously very close to 10. So what you need to do is either figure it out logically or just measure the screw, okay? And the way you measure a panhead screw like this is you measure from the bottom, the threads basically, okay? And that measures out to 10mm, so I know I've got the right screws. Now, I didn't remove the flashing, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, there we go, flashing's removed. Let's go ahead and start putting the pieces in. The ball ends, they all came out of this bag with the bigger stuff in it. These 2 metal plates came out of this bag. Notice they're not labeled, but it's this bag with these metal parts. So these big guys go in like this, and then they will screw into this plate on the back. Alright, so again, that will be Loctite. Get a little bit of Loctite on there. Screw it in. I'm going to do this all the way around. Alright, you also need this piece. It comes out the same bag that those other sheet metal pieces came out of. This is going to be orientated, like so. So you got these ridges here, these protrusions, they're not on the back. You point that way, then that means this goes that way. And that's going to go up under here. I've pre-Loctited these. And it'll screw, these ball ends screw into this plate.